don't know what's going on with me. After one more day passes, it will be an entire month without uploading. I've never been this inconsistent, and I really knew something was up because the other night I went to go punch through my nightly sheet of drywall, and when I threw my fist at that drywall, it just didn't go through anymore. I have things going on that have made it hard to upload, but today I got my monster. I'm gonna do my best, get my energy levels back up, and today we got a video for you guys. Well guys, I'm back over here at the new property, and I'm excited to announce that we are breaking ground on some of the renovations and additions that I plan on doing to this place. So as you know, one of the major additions that I want to do is a really big shop in the back corner over there. We're getting really close to pulling the trigger on that, but we're not quite ready to break ground on that just yet. But I figured I would go ahead and get a head start on what will soon be the detached garage here at the new property. So I did mention in the video when I got this place that I had planned on also adding a detached garage right here, because we don't currently have any sort of just regular garage for just like the dailies or anything like that. The only building here for anything like that is the one that's already on the property, the 40 by 60 back over there. So figured it'd be really nice, since the house doesn't have its own 2-car garage or anything like that built into it, we would add a nice detached garage right here, especially with this asphalt that's already kind of poured right here that they used for parking. So if you look behind me, we already got everything laid out right here, and they're actually coming tomorrow to pour the concrete pad. I was a little busy today, but a crew came out here today. They dropped a skid steer off and some equipment. They got the grass scraped back, and they got everything leveled exactly where it needs to be. And if you come over here, you can see that this is going to be the entire perimeter of what will be the new detached garage. It's going to be a 50 wide, I guess you could say 50 long, and 30 feet deep. So a 50 by 30 is going to have two 12-foot roll-up doors right here, and it's going to have a walk-in door right over here, probably with a couple windows. We'll make a little path, a little sidewalk to come up to the door right here. I wanted to have some of it offset to the garage doors to have enough space in here for like a workbench, you know, maybe have some of my like RC planes in here. There is a 12-inch footer that goes along the whole perimeter right here, which is up to code. They still got some more rebar to lay down in there. They got a wire mesh to help reinforce it. That's not even a necessity, but I went ahead and wanted to add the wire mesh. You know, a lot of concrete guys, especially for heavy duty applications, you'll typically rebar the whole concrete. We're doing some fiber reinforced concrete along with the steel mesh, so it will be plenty stout and strong for like my truck and things like that to drive on and off of it. And then it will still be up to possibly month and a half to 2 months before the actual building gets put here. So it's still going to be a process before the building itself is ready to go up, but I wanted to go ahead, get the pad done, and then once the building comes, which we have already ordered, it will be able to just go right up, and this is just one less thing out of the way. So tomorrow morning we'll pick back up and start pouring some concrete. All right, boys, the concrete trucks are here. There is a light rain right now. You know, I'm not an expert on concrete, but they said that it shouldn't be an issue as long as the rain stays light, and it is going to clear up here very soon, so they're not too worried about that. And they're getting out there, getting ready to get it all poured. And after today, we'll have our pad done for the new building. All right, guys, so they got the footers poured in all the way around, and now they're starting to fill in the rest of it, kind of smoothing it out as they go. And you can see they have this wire mesh that goes across the entire pad as well. As they are pouring it, they're lifting that wire mesh up so that it floats about halfway into the concrete. That just gives it some added strength and longevity there. I wanted to add that because it wasn't even a necessity with this type of concrete that they are using. I guess they mostly pour pads without it, but I wanted to be sure that she had some structure in there as well. It's just a 4-inch pad, which will be plenty for the detached garage here. But yeah, they're moving right along. Luckily, the weather is completely shifting away from us, so we have no more rain coming, which is good. We should have clear skies here soon, which will be very important for when the concrete sets, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, as you saw in the last video, I got the NSX pulled apart. I got the engine and trans dropped out of this thing, and now I got to go ahead and get this head off. Without further ado, I'm gonna get right to it. We got to take off the intake manifold, turbo manifold. I have to get the crank pulley off and these belts to get the side cover off right there. And that should be about it. And then we can just take the valve cover off, cams, all that good stuff, and get the head off this thing and get a fresh gasket on there so it can go back together. All right, I got the head off of the K24 here, and if you look, we do have a CSS block in the NSX, and that stands for Cylinder Support System. This is not a sleeved block, and we are pushing about, as much power as we would want on a CSS block. I believe people have made in the 11 to 1200 plus range before, and it has worked, but they recommend, like around that 800 to 900 horsepower range, and we're definitely pushing about 1,000 with some of the boost levels we've seen in the NSX. So, we're right about at the limits of what we want to push a CSS block to. This is actually the factory aluminum cast sleeve on the inside here. So this is technically a stock sleeve block. All they do is they open up this water jacket a little bit more, because if you guys know, this is a open deck K24, and it would normally have a space all the way around each cylinders. They machine that out a little bit, and then this is a very tightly press fit piece of aluminum with holes drilled just for coolant to pass, and this just supports the tops of all of those cylinders for big boost. And like I said, they're good to around 900 to 1,000 horsepower, leaning on them. And yeah, so we also have copper O-rings, which we need to replace after it was built and the head was clamped on there. These got squished down, so that is something I've been dreading to do. I have yet to have to remove used copper O-rings, and on this one I am going to do that, and I'm probably going to replace them with stainless steel, which I'll show later. This is the head gasket that came off, so you can see we are missing some material right there. It's not in like terrible shape. It's not like it completely melted a corner or something. The car was still running okay, still making power, but it was definitely starting to push some coolant, so we do have some material starting to go right there, and there was a spot where it almost looked like it was starting to push through pretty bad in the center right there. I don't know how well you can see that, but the metal is actually starting to blow through right there, getting warped from heat. So definitely a good time to replace that guy. It did also have L19 head studs, which are the stronger head stud, the same ones we run in the MR2. I wasn't sure if it already had these in there or not, because if it didn't, I was gonna upgrade to the L19s, but since we already have those, we're good to go. And I got a brand new Cometic head gasket right here. So now all I gotta do is dig these old copper O-rings out and get those replaced, and then we can get this surface just cleaned up, and it should be good to go back together. And the reason we have the copper O-rings right here, this is something they do, is they machine a groove right there around the cylinder, add the O-ring, so it just adds a little bit more bite into that head gasket all the way around, and it just helps seal that cylinder a bit better. So that actually wasn't too bad. I got the first 3 O-rings pulled out right here. I'll show you how I do this last one. Got those pulled out of the way right there. I was you know, kind of picking at it with a flathead, couldn't really figure out how to, you know, get a hold on it. So what I ended up doing is I just grabbed a pick and I sharpened the end of it. It was a little dull. And right where the copper wire butts up to each other, I just took the pick and carefully put it right on top, and I hammered it into place, and then I started to angle it while tapping, and I started to kind of push that wire out of the way. See how it's starting to fold right there? You just want to be pretty careful so you're not, you know, galling up the sides of the aluminum. You're really just wanting to focus on the copper, so make sure you're not, you know, pushing into the block too much. But I don't have my tripod right now. I apologize. It's the other place. So you're gonna get the neck cam here. I'm gonna put it under my chin, and I can't really talk good like this, but all we gotta do, put this guy in here. And as you can see, I got that end of wire pulled up right there, and then you just gotta get some pliers and grab that guy and unwind it, and you're good to go. All right, boys, I got the old copper O-rings removed, and I'm replacing those guys with some stainless steel wire right here. The main reason I am doing this is just personal preference, and the stainless wire doesn't crush as much as the copper. It doesn't deform as bad, and you can get more uses out of the stainless steel wire. Basically with the copper, once you torque a head down, it's most likely going to be smushed all the way, and you'll have to redo them every time you redo a head gasket, whereas the stainless holds its shape a little bit better, and it seems to bite into the head gasket better. With some of the head gaskets we pulled off the MR2 engine, there is definitely more of an impression in the head gasket as compared to the copper O-rings. It would definitely work fine either way, but my personal preference is this stainless wire right here, and I can literally just get it at Harbor Freight. This is 041-inch stainless, and I actually did run into a little bit of an issue with it, which I'll show you guys real quick. So I'm not sure how well you can see this, but this was the slight dilemma that I was in. This is the 041-inch wire that I have been using in the past. It's also the same exact size that they run with the copper wire as well, which I have some right here. This actually came with several of my sleeved blocks. This is the exact same 041, and that's what they typically machine this O-ring groove to fit. But for some reason, whoever machined this block, I think they went a little too loose, because the 041 wire here, I can basically just push it all the way in just with my fingers, and you should have to work it in there a little bit. So you can see if I try to tap this in and like work my way around, it's just gonna pop out. There's no bite to that. It's a little too loose, and this comes out to about 1 millimeter, just a little bit over. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Because it's such a, you know, exact size. But luckily the local hardware store had some 1.2 mil wire, and this fits perfectly. So you can see, you should have to kind of work it in like so, and it actually holds its shape. Look at that. So I can actually work with this. So luckily they had that, because I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was gonna have to order something, but I found some locally, and we're good to go. And I already went ahead and got this first one done right here. I just gotta knock out the rest. And then just like I showed in the videos of assembling the MR2's engine, I make sure that these ends are filed flat, because after you cut them with some wire cutters, they make, you know, a little bit of a point there. So you wanna make sure those are flat. And then as you come around to butt these up together, what I do is I just make sure the one end is just a slight bit longer than it needs to be. So then what I do is, instead of hammering it down all the way to the end, I actually take this end, butt it up to this end, and I will finish out the rest of the hump, and it kind of forces those ends together, if that makes sense. So yeah, I went ahead and also got the deck of the block cleaned off here, wiped off the pistons for no reason other than just to do it, to help clean some stuff up while I'm in here. So I'll knock out these other 3 stainless O-rings here, and we're good to get this thing put back together. All right, the new steel O-rings are in. If you look real close, you can see right where those ends butt up, really nice and tight right there. It really doesn't matter where you put that guy, as long as it's tight and they're flat up against each other. But now that that's done, we can go ahead, get the new head gasket on there. I just have a Cometic right here. It's a 30 thou head gasket. Then I got some silicone to clean up off of the front timing chain cover right here, and just start going back together with this thing and get it back into the car. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so I just got the head torqued down, and I wanted to show you some stuff that someone sent me that's really cool here that's gonna make my life a little bit easier. So this guy on Instagram is called 3D Honda, like 3D printing and Honda, because his goal is to make assembling these engines a little bit easier. And I'm getting ready to put all the rocker arm assembly back onto the engine here. And we have these nice 3D printed pieces that actually hold these together. Look at this. So they just go on just like that. And if you've worked on a K-series before, you know that keeping those rocker arms where they need to be can kind of be annoying. These also like to separate. You gotta make sure the pins stay in. And now with all of those on there, check that out. It can just go right onto the engine. I mean, I think we're good to set it on. Look at that. Easy peasy. And then same goes for taking it apart. You just put those on and you pull it off, and it keeps everything nice together. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. That is really cool. He said he's a fan of the channel. I appreciate the note, man. He said he was a Honda tech, and he's just trying to make working on Hondas simpler. So be sure to go check him out at 3D Honda on Instagram. And I really appreciate that. Also, something else he sent me that I thought was really cool. He makes these things called bolt buddies. And this is a really cool idea. So this is the timing chain cover of a K-series. So as you take the bolts out, as you're working on the engine, you can put it right where the bolt came from. It has a magnet in there and it holds the bolts in place. And you can also like stick this to a lift or something while you're working on it. Just keeps all your bolts in the spot they came out. Man, that magnet's strong. 1 second. All right. Keeps all the bolts where they came from. So that's a really cool concept. I mean, I think he could do this with a lot more than just Hondas, but sent me a bolt buddy as well. So yeah, I just wanted to shout him out, and we'll go ahead and keep getting this thing together. All right, guys, I'm basically all the way back together with the NSX here. Just got to tidy up some wires, zip tie some stuff out of the way, and get the wheels and tires back on. But I'm ready to try to start this thing up. The fuel system is completely dry right now since I drained everything out of the tank, and it does have the mechanical fuel pump, so it might take a while to get that primed up. I could pop the pump off and prime everything with a drill, but I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot some starter fluid in there and try to get it to turn over and run just long enough to get that mechanical pump spinning and hopefully build fuel pressure and keep it running. And then the only other thing I have to do is get water in it as well, because there's no coolant in it, but it does have fresh oil. Just got some fuel in there, so we're ready to try to fire this thing off.
Yeah.
She's alive. Sounds pretty good. Ready to go for a test drive, Greg?
Yeah, I am. I got my precision turbo jump seat in here.
Oh, yeah?
Check it out. Perfect.
That was some padding from the Precision Turbo box.
Yeah, I don't know what size turbo jump sheet that is, but it's Greg's size. It's gonna work perfect.
So we just got this thing topped off with water. Huge shout out to Astro Tools with their vacuum bleeder right here, the NSX and MR2s. They're really hard to bleed the coolant systems with the radiator being in the front. It's really easy to get air pockets trapped. So this kit is a must with this thing. It just pulls a full vacuum on it, and then you open the valve and then it actually pulls water back into the system to get rid of any air pockets. So we should be good to go. I looked over the tune. It looks like it's pretty tame, but I honestly don't remember, where it was set. So I'm just gonna kind of see what it does, go kind of easy on it. But this is the first drive that this thing has had in well over a year. What's the fastest car you've been in, Greg?
Probably that Tesla I drove.
The Plaid?
Yeah, probably.
Well, this one
maybe
is...
not top speed, but... Yeah,
I mean, this one beats it in top speed and acceleration.
Yeah.
Definitely acceleration. I don't even know what the top speed on this thing is, but...
Let's not find out right now.
Man, dude, I got to do something about that carbon wing. Look how faded it is.
That's a shame, dude.
I need to get this thing detailed.
It's a nice car.
Poor thing, just been sitting. Well, let's let her stretch her legs a little bit. It's been a minute since we've had the NSX out. Make sure it feels good. It's been a while. I'm not gonna send it.
What have I done?
She's running great though.
Yeah?
Oil pressure, fuel pressure, all looks good. It's only 152, so the coolant's bled. Because you saw earlier, like it got to 200 real fast when we didn't have water in it.
Yeah, that bleeder works really well. It's close, it's pushing over 50. That's almost half of my pounds. What is that eating?
Oh, she's eating.
Wow.
Well, boys, the NSX is back up and operational. Just got back from our test drive and we have no leaks anywhere, which is great. No water spitting out. I left the line going to the coolant overflow off just to make sure nothing was spitting out of that guy right there, because it was pretty bad last time we had this thing out. Like I said, it's been well over a year since the NSX has seen any action. It got to the point where I couldn't even drive it anymore. Even not getting into boost, it would just warm up and it would start pushing coolant. It was just disappearing, I don't know, and it would start overheating. And I was just like, yeah, this head gasket is on its way out, because even in low boost scenarios, it would just start spitting water like crazy. So looks like everything's sealed up now, which is a great sign. We'll see how long this thing lasts. This is the same engine that came with the car when I originally got it. So it's, you know, several years old now at this point. Since I've received it, I've definitely beaten this thing pretty hard, and I've pushed this CSS block, you know, pretty close to its limit. It's definitely making over 1,000 horsepower during some of those pulls we did at FL2K, and it has seen over 50 pounds of boost on this turbo. So I mean, at this point, the engine owes me nothing, and other than just doing the one head gasket, I really can't be mad about that. So, you know, I just slapped a new gasket on there with some new O-rings, double checked everything. It all looks great. So hopefully, you know, she gives us another year or two. That'd be awesome. But if it grenades next time out, at the same time, like I said, it doesn't really owe me anything. I'm just happy that it is back together for the moment, and hopefully I can get it back out to FL2K and do some roll races, just have some fun with this thing, because it's been down for so long. And it was definitely a little bit of an extra effort to drop the whole engine out of this thing instead of just pulling the head off in the engine bay here. But like I said, with how tight it is and with the recommendation from my friend Brandon, I think it was the right move. It was a little extra time, but much easier to work on. Plus I got to learn a lot about this car since I have never dropped the engine out of it. But she's all back together, boys. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you later.